Hey, hello.
Howdy, y'all. We are in darkness.
Yeah, the lights are off in our room. That's okay, though.
There's no reason for it. We're just lazy.
Electricity.
Okay,
We're
fair
saving electricity.
enough. Anyway, so earlier today, spent half the day, we were watching The Crimes of Grindelwald, which is the latest Fantastic Beasts movie. There's gonna
Don't
be
know
five
why
of
you're
them
here if you didn't know
in
that.
total. This is
I
the
have
second
five,
one. There's
I
five.
think.
There's five. We get
can
three
only
more.
just
She don't
can't-
stop, man.
She just can't, write something short, can she?
It's not her forte. It's fine. And it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I felt like my brain was kind of fried after watching it because it felt like it was like really long. But then also when it was getting towards the end, I was like, I don't want it to end yet.
Yeah, I was like, it felt really long, but then it was towards the end. I was like, it can't be over already. You can't.
Yeah, it's like, and it was like I felt very engaged in, like I normally feel very engaged in movies, but with this one, I remember like halfway through the movie, I kind of like blinked and like straightened up in my chair, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm in a movie theater.
Yeah, it wasn't so much that a lot of like stuff happened like event wise. It was more like a lot of it was like stuff we learned about characters. Like we just got a lot of information about a lot of people.
Yeah,
plus
like,
a lot of new characters just kind of thrown at us.
Yeah, like I was
in a
like
very
writing
short
down
span.
stuff about this, and then I was like, I haven't really talked about the plot that much, and then I was like, what was the plot? What happened?
Stuff happened.
Stuff
It
happened,
just
but
kind
it
of,
was
like,
it was very much.
it's-
It wouldn't. I feel like that. It's definitely felt like a part of a series.
Yeah.
Like with
The
the
first-
first one felt like it could have been a standalone movie,
And
and
they
it
could
could
have
have just
just,
been
like,
it could have just ended
ended
it there.
and that would have.
And that would have been it. But this one very much felt like it was like, hey, we've introduced you to these characters, now here's more information, some more crucial plot points, some more like backstory and like character development and things like that.
Which
So
is
that in the
fine.
next movie shit can get serious, which is fine because
Like
I
a lot of
enjoyed
people are
it
like
deeply.
every series of things have to like stand perfectly on their own. It's like if they did, then the rest of the series would be like pointless.
Yeah, I've never really understood that. Like, I like it when a movie can like stand on its own, but then it's also like it doesn't. I don't think it retracts from the movie if it doesn't, because it's part of a series for a reason.
Like,
As long
you
as it was
can't-
enjoyable, it's like you can't like fault the like, and you know like people will be like,
You
oh well,
can't,
then
like,
what if you
kind of-
like didn't watch the other things or weren't familiar with this? It's like then that's your fault.
You can't. You wouldn't expect to go to a series of novels, pick up the last one, and it make sense. Like, you know, you shouldn't like get the sense like when like a series like you shouldn't get the sense that it's kind of like someone chopped like the middle of like a book out and like turned it into a movie, and like that's what you're getting. Like, it should feel like it has a beginning, middle, and end, but it doesn't have to have like. It doesn't have to like totally be like, yeah, that could totally be like a one-off movie, and that would like be perfectly fine because it's not a one-off movie. It's part of a series. So if it feels like it's part of a series, that's fine because that's what it is.
Yeah, but anyway, I really enjoyed it. I really liked getting to know more of the characters and the character development that was in it, and I just like I love my boy Nude so much.
Yeah. The plot, in case you're wondering, though, then we're gonna spoil the heck out of this. So if you haven't seen the movie, you don't watch this.
Yeah, just know that it was good and I enjoyed it deeply, and then go watch it.
And if you have seen it, then watch this. So the plot is basically Credence,
Yes.
who's alive,
Yes.
fun fact, is searching for his like birth parents, and then everyone else in the movie is trying to find Credence, and that's the plot.
And Grindelwald is there basically trying to like lead
He's trying to
find
Credence,
he knows where Credence is. He's trying to get Credence to willingly
Yeah.
join him. So everywhere that Credence goes and everywhere that the other characters goes have kind of been orchestrated by Grindelwald.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Because
your boy Grindelwald wasn't as absolutely crusty as he was in the last movie. Like, I remember looking at him and, like, being like, yo, they should have just kept him looking like Percival Grave. This man a mess. I mean, like, I know he's, like, a mass murderer, but, like, he looked busted.
Not looking forward to staring at him for the next movie.
Yeah, they fixed it. I don't know if it was just because he got a haircut or, like, if they changed his design a little bit. I didn't remember him having mismatched eyes at the end of the other one, but that could have just been me being dumb. I like that. His character design's a lot better now, is the point.
A lot of people still don't like Johnny Depp. I don't know enough about Johnny Depp to, like, not like him, so I don't give a shit.
I think it's because it was, like, there was this... It's I don't know where I stand on it, because I have to do some research on it on my own, but apparently he got accused of abusing his wife, but then apparently it's like he got like he like went to trial over it and he wasn't guilty of it, and then like people were like, well, he wasn't like charged with it, but like he was guilty of it. But then like somebody was just like, he wasn't even like in the town where his wife was when she said something happened, so like I don't know. I don't
like
know.
I kind of knew what he was accused of, but I was like, I don't know enough about it to have like a strong enough opinion to like give a shit that he's in this movie.
I hope it's not true, just because I don't want to feel like I want to keep watching these movies without being like, yikes.
I mean, if it helps,
problematic.
He got paid either way, whether you watch it or not.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but again, I don't know enough about that to have a strong opinion on it, but...
Definitely don't care enough.
Yeah, one of our relatives who we saw on Thanksgiving was like, oh, Johnny Depp was so good in that movie. I thought he was like...
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. I was like, oh my god, he's so good.
I've never really liked that with acting. Like, I'm never like, wow, that performance was really good, because, like, ideally, if a performance is really good, then you just, like, you don't even, like, think of it as a performance.
Sometimes I think about it afterwards. Like, I remember I, like, watched The Imitation Game, and then afterwards I was like, fuck.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're watching, like, during the movie, though, if the performance is really good, then you should just kind of be, like, absorbing, like, thinking, like, yes, this is the character. I mean, I think he did a pretty good job. They all did a good job.
I don't think it was the best in the movie, because I definitely think, like, you know, the more central characters take that cake. There was some surprising bits and pieces from some characters.
I think the dude who plays Credence always does a really good job.
He always does a really good job. I mean, of course, Eddie Raymond always does like a great job at playing this.
Questioning.
Like, I know, but he always he's so good at just playing this like timid, like awkward guy, and he has like mannerisms. Newt has like mannerisms and like things he does, and I'm just like, damn, that's called good character.
Yeah. That's just kind of the same reason I think the dude, his name's Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller.
I think he's really good, because he's also kind of does, like...
Credence looks less busted in this movie, too, because he don't got a bowl cut. He wasn't as bad as Grindelwald, though.
Yeah. Yeah, the lack of a bowl cut is probably an improvement.
Yeah.
That's
basically the general consensus is that any haircut is better than a bowl cut. But yeah. Still love Newt. Still a pure boy.
Yeah.
Whom I love. Still a disaster.
Still a mess. Still an awkward mess of a human who I love.
Yes, he's one of my favorite Harry Potter characters.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, him or probably, like, Lupin. I don't know why I like Lupin so much. I
good.
just do. It's like...
He's good.
I know. I've cycled through, like when people are like, oh, who's your favorite character in Harry Potter? I've had, like 3 different answers, but then, like, persistently, there's just, like, a Lupin's just in the back of my mind, like, why aren't you saying Lupin? And I didn't know, but, like... Yeah, probably either Newt or Lupin are my favorite characters.
Probably either, like, Newt or Luna. I clearly have, like, a type of character that I like, I guess.
Freaks.
Basically, freaks, weirdos, awkward people. Yeah, those are the characters I like.
Yes, I love him. he's just I don't know why, but like
He's
just this movie
such
in
a
particular,
Hufflepuff.
he's such a Hufflepuff, and he's just so nice to everybody and all the animals he meets, and he's so like persistent in what he believes and like unwilling to like compromise, and it's great. And then like that one scene where he like got like the little toy out and to like capture like the little like
so
cat
cute.
dragon cute ass
Thing.
I think in my notes I called it cute ass dragon demon because those are all appropriate words for it. But that was just that I was like, wow, I'm soft.
That was
That's what
cute.
Tina looked like too. Like she was watching that and she was just like, wow, I'm soft.
That was good. Also, didn't write this in the notes, but the special effects are fucking gorgeous in this movie.
I love
That's
it. And I tried to talk to you about this before and you called me crazy, but the CG is like it's like almost stylized in these movies.
Almost.
They come across as very like, because I've seen CG done by other movies where it's just like, it looks like a real thing. And these look like a real thing too, but they have this kind of like whimsical, like kind of magic-y
They all
aura
kind
to
of like
it.
go like glowy and like
Yeah,
they
they're
have
like
big
they're like
eyes.
ethereal. They look all of the creatures look ethereal.
Like all the special effects kind of, because a lot of the special effects are spells, so they're gonna look
Yes.
like all glowy. Yeah, like all the creatures kind of look like glowy, and it's like at first I kind of thought that that's just what the creatures like looked like, but it's kind of like all of them. Like even if they have like no reason to look glowy, they're all like glowy, and they all have like big eyes. It's like it's kind of like very slightly stylized, but not in a way where it like doesn't. It looks out of place or like unrealistic, because they look
Yeah.
like real things. They look like they have like a real presence.
Yeah, but they
it's
just
it's gorgeous.
and I really dig that because I mean, I just like stylized stuff over realistic stuff. Like it takes a lot of skill to do stuff realistically, but I always just love art in general way more when it's not just like recreating something.
Yeah.
Or like making something look perfectly realistic. So like slightly stylized CG, I'm fucking here for it.
It also like gives the movie like a very like strong like aesthetic too.
Yes.
Because like I really like it when like fictional like when like movies are like fictional universes in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like when like if there's like a world or something that it all has like a really strong aesthetic, then I love it.
Yeah. I dig it a lot.
But yeah, CG is gorgeous.
Indeed. So, I didn't write down, like, a specific thing for each character, but we talked about new...
Oh yeah, the first part of this movie is basically to establish everyone's a fucking mess.
Well, the very first scene was Grindelwald escaping, which was a cool scene.
Oh yeah,
I
that was a
enjoyed
cool scene.
They did a good job making Grindelwald seem like a big bitch.
And
like,
like
I mean,
very powerful.
Like, yeah, they made him seem very powerful and very, like, clever, but then also it was like, he was just, like, doing, like, you know, he was, like, killing people, but, like, you're so used to, like, killing people in movies. It's like,
So, like,
that was just
seven
kind of like,
to,
that's typical bad guy stuff. But then it's like, he killed that, like, animal that he had in the beginning, and then he, like, killed, like, a toddler, and I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was what it was like, okay, goddamn. Right?
That's like a surefire. Killing an animal or killing, like, a small child is a surefire way to
'Cause
make
we're,
the
like-
character seem even worse.
Because, like, we're so, like, used to, like, watching, like, adult humans, like, drop dead in movies, like, their
Yeah.
fucking blades of grass being mowed down. Like, it, like, doesn't affect us anymore other than to establish... Well, it depends, because sometimes it, like, establishes this is a bad guy, but then there are also some movies where, like, the good guys are mowing people down, so who knows?
Yeah. It just
So
depends,
it's like
but-
you have to do something that like we're not used to seeing toddlers getting mowed down or animals. So like you have to do something that like sticks out. It's like that's not great.
Yeah. So they did a good job of that. And
Grindelwald
then
was a very interesting character.
I think they did a good job with him because they like it was very like reminiscent of like it very much established how like sorry like good people can like see like the side of like a bad person, like because like
Very
in that
important.
because it was like when they had that rally, the things he was saying was very like not
Threatening.
alarming. Like he didn't raise any red flags. He wasn't like, I will destroy all or anything. It was very like reminiscent to how like actual bad people like in the real world get in charge of things.
Because like you can kind of tell that like he's like he doesn't like he has like a he's very interesting to me because he's not like you can kind of tell that while he does believe what he's doing is right, he didn't believe everything he was like saying at that rally. Because like at the rally he was like, I don't want to kill all the Muggles. Yeah. Definitely not. And then, like, earlier in the movies, he's like, oh, we're not gonna kill them all. We can, like, enslave some of them.
Yeah.
Like, so it's, like, clearly he
didn't exactly not say that either. He just spent it in, like, a way. He was like, I don't think they're useless. They're just useful in a different way than we are.
He said it more in a way that implied that they were, like, equal. Kind of like, they can't do magic, but they're still, like, capable. Like, that's how he sounded at the rally. Like, oh, they may not be able to do magic, but that doesn't mean, like, they're not useful. And then is, like, what he actually meant was, like, haha, they are inferior to me.
Yes, it was, like, you can, like, look at him and, like, know him and know he is bad and, like, know what his true intentions are, but then it's, like, you understand why some of these people might...
Other than...
Like,
just being crazy.
Other than just being crazy. Like, obviously there were some crazy ones, but then also there were some people who probably weren't necessarily, like, evil people or, like, bad people, but they just... He was very, like... He seems... Like they said in the beginning of the movie, he's very persuasive. Like, he comes across as very put together
he's, like,
and he has
very
ideas.
Charming.
He's,
like,
yes. He is... Like,
despite
the embodiment.
his face...
Yes.
He's very charming.
He does the things that actual, like, dictators have used to get into power. Like, have really radical beliefs, but present them in a very palatable way that appeal to people.
Moderate.
Yeah, in a way that, in being, you know, charming and being able to, like, appeal to people and what they want and, like, you know, like, scapegoating, like, one particular thing is like the cause of like all their problems and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's like they did like a pretty good job like making him like a distinct character from like Voldemort, because like they're very similar like intentions,
yes,
and like beliefs and stuff, but like Voldemort, his is like the other main way dictators get into power, which is just like, if you don't listen to me, I will kill you.
Yes.
And
he's,
you
like,
know I can.
Voldemort was very much like, I'm gonna have like this cult of people who believe in me wholeheartedly, and then we're gonna just like take over everything and kill everyone.
Like brute force.
Brute force you
like,
way
I don't
into
need
it.
to pretend that I don't hate Muggles and Muggleborns, because I'll just slaughter them and anyone who has a problem with it. And it's like Grindelwald kind of has a more like, I'm not going to do it by brute force unless I have to. I'm going to
coerce people into giving me power.
I'm gonna like charm them into it and then like kill people like secretly.
Yes.
And everyone knows that he does, but like,
yeah.
Still.
It's a good. He's a good villain.
He's a good villain. Very well written character.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, he's the worst, but he's a very well written.
Yes.
Good, because you know a good villain should be the worst. Well, not necessarily. You know, like, you know.
Yeah.
You can have a good villain who is the worst.
Yes.
You don't have to make them like sympathetic in any way. They can just be the worst.
Yes. Yes. Queenie.
Aha, she's the one who's the biggest mess.
She's the big oof in this thing. So she had a lot of development, which I was hoping she would have development, because she was, out of like the main four in the first movie, she was definitely the one that got the less screen time and the less development.
Yeah.
The least.
Yeah, they established her like as a basic character. They didn't like. You didn't get to know her as much, which is
Yes.
fine because it's a
Yeah.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
time.
so I was hoping that she would get more development, and she did.
She sure did.
It wasn't all. Most of it really actually wasn't really good development.
I mean, it was good in the way of like, you know, from like a writing standpoint, like an actual like
Yes.
it's good development. They just want like and like good like here's some more things about her that you didn't really know. They just want like good traits that we were being like presented.
One that I thought was really interesting was when she was trying to find Tina, and then like she couldn't, and then she ended up like, you know, like healing like Newt and Jacob, and then like running after them and then losing them, and then she was like crying in the street and stuff, and like I think it was interesting because, you know, she's established that she's a mind reader, and then like it kind of like showed like the side of that where she's getting kind of like overwhelmed by it because like she could hear all of these people's voices jumbling up on top of each other and just kind of lost it, and I thought that was interesting. But then also
she's a bit crazy. Is what we have learned.
A lot of bit. Literally like the first thing she does in the movie is put a love spell on Jacob,
which sounds pretty bad. It's slightly less bad because, you know, Jacob was already in love with her. He just, like...
She just wanted to marry him. And he didn't want to marry her, not because he wasn't in love with her, but because he didn't want her to get in trouble.
Because, if you don't remember from, the first movie, you can't... In America, you can't, like, marry...
Muggles.
Yeah, if you're a wizard. So then she was like, we can go to, like... Europe and get married. They're progressive.
Yeah.
They won't get, and then, but he, like, didn't want to just get in trouble or whatever, so.
Didn't want to, like, do something so, like, rash, you know?
Yeah. So she put an enchantment on him to make him so mindlessly in love with her that he, like, would not care, and she could just be like, yeet.
Yeah. But then, you know... He was pretty quick to forgive her, but then was also, like, you know, understandably mad about it. Like, yeah, when the fuck were you planning on taking this off of me? Did you just expect me to spend the rest of my life so in a daze by your, like, ethereal glory that you have to cut my own carrots for me because I can't fucking hold a knife properly? But yeah, so that was a little crazy. And that caused, some drama with her and Jacob.
I was like, that seems pretty out of character. It wasn't out of character, apparently. It's just a new character trait.
Because in the end of the movie, big spoiler, she joins Grindelwald. Because he basically saw her and then was like, hey, if you join me... and you, like, help me overthrow the governments and we rule the world, then you can marry whoever you want. And she was like, cool!
That whole charming kind of, like, I don't think, like, muggles or no magics or whatever are inferior. I just think they're different.
Yeah,
and basically... I don't want to destroy anything. I just want wizards to be able to be who they are freely and openly without having to hide from the muggles all the time. And then when that happens, he, like, kind of, like, he didn't, like, you know, it was like he said a couple things in the rally and the Queen that were very, like, obviously targeted towards, like, you can, like, if you join me and I win... you'll be able to marry Jacob with no risk. Obviously, that's not what's going to happen.
No, it's not. But you can't necessarily blame her for falling for that. But, like, also, it's so goddamn obvious. It's like my girl.
To be fair, that could be just because we got to see the scenes of him, like, murdering, like, 10 people.
Yeah, but she knows he's a murderer. Yeah. She knows he's a liar, and she knows he's evil, but then just because he didn't kill her that one time, and then was just like, hey, if you join me, you can marry Jacob. Instead of being like, I can marry Jacob in Europe, I just have to talk him around to it. She was like, better join this tyrant man.
So she's a little crazy.
She's a little crazy, but I don't think she's a bad person. She just wants to marry Jacob, and will hopefully
just a little
snap out of
gullible,
it.
I guess.
Yeah, she's just
a lot of gullible.
She's
very
just
gullible.
She's just a little bit stupid, is all.
A little bit crazy.
Tina got all the brains in the family.
A little crazy and a little dumb, but like not evil in it.
Oh, I just turned around and like the house in the neighborhood behind us is just like so many Christmas lights up, and I was like, what?
Oh Lord, they sure do. I'm gonna turn on the lights. It's only 6 o'clock. Why is it this?
Because
winter,
yeah. So yeah, Queenie's definitely a mess. Tina's living her best life.
She
though.
got promoted.
She got promoted
She's
to
the
an
least
or,
mess.
and the biggest mess that she had was with Newt, because Newt's a mess, and whoever published a certain magazine is a mess.
Yeah, basically there was a little bit of like a drama because a magazine made a mistake that was like reporting on like why was they even in the magazine?
I can't remember. They said why.
But it was in the magazine in the article was Newt, his brother, who I forget his name.
Oh God, what is his name?
Is it like Theseus or something?
Theseus.
Something weird like that. Yeah.
I'm gonna call him Theseus, and if that's not his name, you're just gonna have the deal.
And Lita Lestrange,
Yeah.
who was in this movie this time.
Yeah, instead of just in a edgy, mysterious picture in Newt's suitcase.
So Lita and Theseus were getting married, but
That didn't work out too well, though.
but the magazine made a mistake and said that Newt and Lita were engaged. So Tina was big upsetty.
Yeah,
that.
especially because she knew who Lita was, because they asked him vaguely, because she asked him about the photograph, and he was just kind of like, I don't want to talk about it. So she was just like, oh. Big oof.
So then, but then
I thought it was gonna be a lot different than just like they probably were like a thing in school, and then it didn't work out.
Yeah, we didn't get to know as much about like we got to know Lita a little bit, but we didn't ever get to know like why they weren't still friends. Like we didn't get to figure out like,
it
what
was like,
went wrong.
Yeah, it was kind of like. Well, they carved their initials in a desk at Hogwarts, so I think it was safe to say that they dated at one point when they were in school. But then obviously something happened and they weren't dating, and then she's now engaged to his brother. So something happened there. But
like in the
it seems more like he didn't want to talk to them, because they were like inviting him to dinner, and they were like being perfectly friendly with him, and they were just like, hey, why aren't you hanging out with us? Hey, why are you pushing us away? And he was just like, anyway. And we didn't know why.
Kind of like, yeah, it seemed like it was like a little. That was like one thing I am confused about, because it seemed like in the last movie that like, yeah, Newt had this friend in when they were maybe something
possible previous love interest, just
when
by the way he's acting about it.
And then something went wrong, and it's like he also has a brother, but they don't get along for some reason. And it's like both of them were in this movie, and they never elaborated on like what happened.
Maybe the reason he doesn't get along with it, well, it seems like he and his brother just always kind of butted heads a little bit, not really in like super serious ways, but then, you know, probably like the more his brother was like, I'm in order and rules, and then Newt was like, I'm going to illegally transport these animals around because I believe it's the right thing to do. They were probably just more kind of at odds. But, maybe the reason he wasn't really friends with Lita is because they were dating, and then she broke up with him and dated his brother. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe he's just a little salty over that.
I guess I was expecting something a little more dramatic with, like, both of them. Just the way it seemed in the movie was that, like...
But then
like,
again,
I was
people
expecting Lita
like
to be
that.
like,
yeah,
big shit. Like, that was like the impression I got, was that they were friends, but she was like an asshole. Which they kind
of. But then again, it's like people in real life act like that about stuff that's not that dramatic. So that could just be how he is, and he's, you know.
That's true. I guess that it just wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Both of them. But yeah, so that was the thing. Isn't Tina also technically like dating someone? That'll be fun to sort out in the next movie.
The thing that I got the impression that it wasn't really serious because, I mean, she was obviously still very into Newt and was probably just like, well, he's engaged, so I mean,
I gotta move, like, one of those things where you're like, I gotta move on.
Yeah, so she's
then...
probably just gonna be like, hey, Greg, it's not working out.
And, like, Jacob was like, when Newt was, like, talking to Jacob while they were going to France, Jacob was like, don't worry about it. She's basically gonna dump him the second she sees you.
But as soon as you explain to her that you're not engaged to your brother's fiance and that it was just a mistake, she's probably gonna be like, alright, cool. Which is basically what happened, but it was a lot more cute and awkward than that.
But they never followed up on her boyfriend.
They had more important things to do.
Yeah, they sure did have more important things.
But yeah, Tina's living her best life. Jacob's still kind of a mess. Still love Jacob. Jacob's great.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to like Jacob as much as I did when we went into the first movie, but we stand.
He remembers everything. They didn't really explain that too much.
They really didn't. They pretty much said that, it does kind of make sense when you think about it for a little bit, because it's like... They said that the spell that they used at the end only alleviated, however the fuck...
Like, bad
Which memories?
Makes sense, because that would cover up, like, the plot hole of, like, well, what about all, like, the wizards that were, like, getting in the way, and would they be obliviated? Probably not, because to them it probably wasn't, like, a big...
Yeah, and
you wouldn't
that would
also
also be like, okay, well, did that just erase some of their memories, or are they all just blank slates now? So I think what probably happened was all of the bad parts from Jacob's thing got obliterated, and then since... he kind of, like, woke up after all that happened, and then everything was normal, and nobody was just like, holy shit, all of this stuff happened. He probably thought it was a dream.
Yeah.
Which is why he just went on and opened his bakery and made things that were kind of, like, inspired by his dream, and then he saw Queenie and was like, wait, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, it seemed like he, like, maybe, like, kind of remembered it. At the end, they established that, and then I guess it just took, like, a conversation with Queenie to, like, bring it all back.
Yeah, or maybe he was just downplaying it, because he was probably just like, haha, it was definitely just a dream. I totally don't have wizard friends, because that, I would know for sure that that's a thing.
And then he met one of his wizard friends, and he's like, shit, I do actually really have wizard friends.
Yeah, so that's probably what happened. Yeah, Jacob didn't have too much going on.
Yeah,
he was just, being helpful.
With Queenie.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
They're both because Queenie, as we established, was a fucking mess in this movie.
Yeah, she was. The actress did a really good job, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, in, like, the scenes where Queenie got, like, really emotional, I was like, dang, she good. Is believable as fuck. Credence deserves better.
Yeah,
honestly.
Still,
once again,
perpetually,
he
forever.
just deserves. I just felt so bad for him when like his elf lady, like caretaker, died, because I was like, bruh. He just needs, like, a hug, Like, he was, like, maybe...
That's not from, like, a maniac.
It's not from, like, a maniac.
He doesn't actually care about him, yeah.
Yeah, it was like that woman actually, like, cared about him and was, like, giving him a hug and was, like, telling him about, like, how much she liked him and just wanted him to be cared for, which is why she sent him to the crazy Salem witch lady. She probably didn't mean to do that.
She probably didn't realize. She was probably like, this lady adopts a lot of children. That must mean she likes children. Yes, You don't adopt 1 million children unless you like and care for them.
Yes, there are a lot of solid twists in this thing.
Yeah.
Like, just now realizing it, just because it's like... Like, in the first movie, we all thought that, like, Credence's sister was gonna be the Obscurus, and then it was Credence. And then, in this thing... it was like, who's Credence related to? And I went through
The
literally
one
the
character
one
you
character
don't
I
think
did-
it is.
No, legitimately, I was like, who could he be related to? And I literally, like, every, 5 minutes, I would be like, maybe he's related to this person, or this person, or this person. And the one person that didn't even cross my mind was that he was related to Dumbledore.
Ah, yes, Dumbledore was in this movie. I didn't write about him in my notes at all.
He wasn't
kind of
in it as
important.
much as I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, I was told, like, the impression that I got about this was that this was going to be much more centered on Grindelwald and Dumbledore.
It was
and, like,
mainly still just centered on
Newt, which I'm
he's
perfectly
the main
fine with.
character.
Because I know, but the
That
impression
makes
that I
sense.
was getting was that he wasn't going to be as big of a character in this movie as he was in the first one. Because even though it was still, like, his series, this movie in particular was going to be more about Dumbledore. Like, they were going to be the focus of this movie.
Still be like the main character. I was just expecting like the plot to focus more on like Grindelwald and
It really didn't.
Dumbledore. It focused more on Grindelwald than
For
the last
sure,
one
yeah.
did. But it's still a lot of it was like half. It was like split focus between Grindelwald and Credence.
Yeah. And then Newt.
Well, Newt's just kind of like the plot was like there wasn't Newt. Like obviously Newt's like the center character, but
Yeah.
like it's like the plot is like draw.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like
It's like the plot wasn't about him.
The
He
plot
was
wasn't
just-
about Newt. It was about Credence
was-
and it was about Grindelwald.
Like the last one was kind of about him because it was about him tracking down his creatures.
Yeah.
This one was about him basically tracking down these two other people. So in
Yeah.
a sense, the plot was about those two people.
Yes. But yeah, Credence really just he deserves
He
more.
deserves better.
He deserves better.
I hope he gets better because he just like ended up with fucking Grindelwald again. So
He
because
deserves
Grindelwald
someone
did like
who
was like real nice to him in the last one.
definitely.
No, he wasn't. He was
Maybe
at like the
Credence
beginning.
a little dumb too. It's okay. He deserves
like-
better. He just wants to be loved.
I mean, Grindelwald was like nice to him at the beginning when he was pretending to be Graves, but then like as it got on, it was like he just became like worse.
Yeah. We'll have to edit that out. Anyway.
Hold on. I'm just gonna. Yee.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, he just deserves to be loved by someone who doesn't have ulterior motives, you know?
Yeah.
That's all he needs.
Please just like go with like Newt or someone who like is actually nice to you.
Exactly.
And then like Credence, please. Well, he has his like actual name is like something else.
I don't love.
He has like a. Credence isn't his actual.
I could not understand what
It was, like-
Grindelwald was saying.
I'm pretty sure it was like gibberish wizard name, you know.
Like, I could not understand the only word that I got out of his name, because they had, like, 4 names, because I guess that's just a Dumbledore thing. The only thing that I got was his last name is Dumbledore. I do
like
not know
started
what his
with an
first name.
I or something. It was
Yeah.
some weird like gibberish wizard name, because you know everyone in I guess the
Probably.
Dumbledore family has to have like fancy wizard names.
Yeah. But you know, that was a solid
I don't.
twist.
How is he related to Dumbledore? 'Cause Dumbledore only had like, 2 siblings, so, and like he would be like really
He had 2
young.
siblings?
Yeah, he had his like weird goat brother.
Oh,
And
right!
his sister. And his sister.
Did he say that it was his brother?
Yeah.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, it was his brother.
Shit, maybe Credence is his goat brother. That wouldn't make sense.
That no.
Yeah.
No.
I thought about that for more than 2 seconds and was like, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It's quite
Maybe...
could be like his cousin or something. I don't know.
It could be like his cousin or something. I don't know. Because I'm assuming like...
Seems like a lot of those
I'm
like
assuming that
pure blood
Credence's
families
mom
are like
is
really like
dead.
close knit.
Yeah. Because she was on that boat with him.
Was
And
he?
then I'm assuming that's who that woman was.
What?
Like, she was the woman who was, like, swimming after
That was not Credence, you freak.
I know it wasn't Credence, but that was Credence's mom because that was the woman who Lita switched him with.
The person that Lita switched was her brother, who they established was not Credence. Remember they,
Wait,
thought... The person in that flashback
I got that.
was Lita's brother.
The baby that she had
was her
and
brother.
Yes, it was her brother. And then she switched her actual brother with another child who then she brought with him onto the lifeboat, and that other child was Credence, which is why everyone thought Credence was her brother, because he was taken in by her and his caretaker, and then eventually given away.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so I guess...
Yeah, fun fact, Lita's also kind of the biggest mess in this movie. Because when she was 10 or something, I don't know, she accidentally got her brother killed because when the boat was sinking, she just decided that a good, sane thing to do would be just to dump him with another...
No, that wasn't when the boat was sinking. She was it was still a dumb thing to do. Her brother was crying all the time, so she decided
when she went in, it was because a bunch of people were scrambling around and panicking. And they were leaving the boat, presumably because it was starting to sink.
Was it? I thought it was
Yeah, that's why, the caretaker, rushed her out of there, and that's why, the woman wasn't in her room with her child.
If the boat was sinking, why wouldn't the woman have taken...
Because I don't think they knew that the boat was sinking yet. I think they just knew that something was wrong. Because there was a bunch of people, coming out of their rooms and, looking up and down the hallways and being what's happening? What's going on?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was before the boat was sinking. He's I'm just gonna switch my brother with some other random baby so I can have a moment of peace, and then I'll switch him back. But then the boat started sinking, and then
I mean maybe, but that's not the impression that I got. But either way, that's such a dumbass thing to do.
I mean, she was
she was just kind of I know, but it's she's walked in and then just saw this other baby and was I'm just gonna take this baby and leave my crying brother in there, and then he drowned and died, and then that became her bogart. Was her baby brother drowning.
Yeah.
Because she caused it anyway.
That was fun. Significantly darker than Newt's bogart, which was a desk job, which is
the biggest mood in the galaxy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was that. Oh, that happened. But yeah, she's a big mess too. But it did spawn probably my favorite line in the movie, which was just you've never met a monster you couldn't love, because I was just oh, I'm soft. I love that. And then just Newt and Tina were really cute because they were
cute and awkward.
Cute and awkward because it's she was mad at him.
My
and he was
favorite
just wait, no. Yeah, she was mad at him, and then he was wait, no, and then she was always just she called him Newt at first, and then decided that she's just gonna call him Mr. Scamander to basically try to be icy and cold and distant, and then he was just yeah, no, and then when they when he finally explained it to her that he wasn't engaged.
Took him a fat.
It took him so long because he's so awkward that he was she was just oh yeah, no. He was yes, about the fiance thing, and then she was just oh yeah, no, I'm happy for you. I mean, congratulations. He was I don't want you to be happy, and then she just kind of looked at him. He's I mean, I want you to be happy, and it was just so great because it took him so long to just get around to it, and he was just I don't want you to. He's I want you to be happy, but I don't want you to be happy for me because I'm not. And then she was that got dark, and then he was just I'm also not engaged. And then she was oh.
He was it's pretty simple. Just I'm not engaged to Lita. It was a mistake in that the magazine made a mistake. She's engaged to my brother, but instead it was I don't want you to be happy. Wait, no, I don't want you to be happy for me because I'm not happy. Wait, no, I'm not engaged.
And then it took him another, 50 years to choke out the thing with the salamander eyes. Because that was the whole running joke through the thing, was that Jacob was like, hey, say the first thing that comes to your brain when you see her. And he was just like, she got salamander eyes. And Jacob was like, don't say that to her.
Yeah, dude was asking him for advice. Don't know why he's asking the guy who literally was just got a fight with his girlfriend for relationship
Because
advice.
he's a likable dude.
But he was like, what should I say to her when I see her? And then he was just like, don't think about it too much. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. And it's like, your eyes look just like salamanders.
Which comes across as a way more awful thing than it does when he actually explains it at the end.
Yeah, and then Jacob was like, okay, don't say that. Just say something normal like that you missed her.
Yeah, and then in the end, he eventually tried to choke out that her eyes looked like salamander's eyes, and he, talked about it for a really long time, kept pausing and, looking around.
Because he was I can't say that her eyes looked like salamander eyes, because apparently that's, the wrong thing.
Yeah, and then he ended up, finally choking it out after what felt like 8 years, and then she, finished the sentence with them, and it was just like, aw, they're both freaks.
And I
love them both so much. Bless their awkward, incapable souls. So another weird thing that wasn't a big detail, but it was just kind of had me be like, yo, what? Was that we saw Newt's home. I kind of just, I didn't really think about him having a home. I feel like I just kind of assumed he lived in his suitcase.
I
and
guess
just kind of traveled around
places. I just kind of assumed he was a weird hermit. Weird,
but he's just got a normal house just in London, and then
he has got an assistant.
He does have an assistant who's got big crush on him, which is unfortunate.
And he's oblivious.
It's
totally,
fine.
Yeah,
and then but his basement's just this freakish sanctuary.
It's basically just his case.
He
just expanded his basement.
Yeah, and to basically make it a bigger version of his suitcase, and then. So that was interesting, and I also love when Jacob was like, where the hell am I? And then, before he goes and chase after Queenie, and
because he was under the enchantment, so he was like, what's happening?
And then it was London, and then as he leaves, he just really angrily says, I've always wanted to go here!
And then Newt just looks confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was great. But yeah, I kind of just never thought, I kind of just thought of Newt as this weird, hermit nomad guy who lives in, a briefcase. I didn't really think of him having, a home and, a street address. So that was weird. Again, really enjoyed Credence's, solid twist at the end. That was good.
Yeah, he's related to Dumbledore. Somehow. Don't know how that works.
I also always enjoy seeing, new spells, new parts of the wizarding world.
Yeah, which this thing was full of it, of, you didn't... Basically, the whole movie was just them doing stuff, and being like, okay, you can do that, okay.
Yeah, it was nice. I do think it is very different from Harry Potter, and just the fact that they're adults, and they're fully trained... they all finished their schooling, except Newt got expelled, so I guess he's just had a lot of practice. Yeah, and then, Tina has, extra training as, an aura and stuff, so it's they're all really good. They're not just a bunch of 17-year-olds who know, 6 spells. They're, they're really good at magic, and they can do, wandless magic. They can do, non-verbal magic and stuff like that.
Yeah, at first you think, since when have people been able to do this in Harry Potter? But it's basically in the pre-established Harry Potter universe was through the eyes of a bunch of 17-year-olds who never paid attention in class and never finished school. So, of course, there's gonna be, a lot more, really complicated advanced spells that, maybe you don't get taught.
Yeah.
So, in school, and you have to, learn them on your own, I guess.
Yeah, so that's always interesting to me. And then they had a lot of, kind of throwbacks to the series. They had Nicholas Flamel and, the Philosopher's Stone. Yeah, and they had, they had, a port key. No, he wasn't. But then they had, a port key and stuff like that. Just things that you kind of, hey, I know what that is.
I think
Not
they
super
said,
important,
in, that one flashback with the bog. No, it wasn't a flashback, was it? It was... Yeah, it wasn't a flashback, it was just Dumbledore teaching a class.
Yeah.
that got... Was it a flashback? It's because Dumbledore was teaching the class in the flashback, too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but they, like, mentioned, like, one of the kids had, like, it was, like, McLagan, and it's the same last name, as, like, a very minor character in the
and then there was
series.
McGonagall, and I was talking to my friend about this, and then, like, apparently, because, like, McGonagall was not born yet.
Whoops.
So I was like, that's like a really minor
like
thing. But then also I'm trying to remember because I'm like, did I read on Pottermore that like her mom was a teacher? I feel like I read that her mom was a teacher.
Yeah, it could be like one of her relatives.
Yeah. Either way, I don't.
I
really
mean,
care
I'm assuming
that much.
most
it doesn't
people
matter
will,
that much.
I'm assuming most people take it as it's her from the series because like you know they might just be like, I mean, Dumbledore is there, so
yeah, and I mean even if it was just like supposed to be her and she wasn't like born yet or whatever, that literally doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. People get so up in arms about like tiny mistakes like that, and it's like it affected legitimately zero things, not one thing. It's just the name of a teacher.
It's like when you're trying to like do this, there's gonna be like a couple mistakes in like continuity, and like you're gonna like be like, I want to change this thing, so I'm just going to do that. Like, you know, what do you... It's been like 20 years building this huge universe. She's gonna, like... she's gonna fuck up something eventually. Also, I just really remember that, like, the credits, like, really wanted you to know that J.K. Rowling made this movie, because it was, like, everything. It was, like, written by J.K. Rowling, produced by J.K. Rowling, and it's like, I get it, yes.
Additions to this... universe are much better when J.K. Rowling actually fucking writes them. Because, I mean, like, The Cursed Child was good and all, but, like, also...
I enjoyed it.
But it was a fucking disaster. Like...
yeah.
Like, I'll never get over the trolley lady that just had, like, ninja star pastries. Or, like, I'm Voldemort's time-traveling daughter. It's like, it was, I mean, objectively, I probably should have hated it. But I didn't.
It was fun. Though a lot of that was maybe not, like, in the way it was supposed to. It wasn't, I can't, like, take it seriously, but I still like it.
Yeah, it's like, I like it. I do not treat it as, like, a serious part of this series. I don't even treat it as canon in my brain. I don't know if it is canon.
I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm like, wasn't it just, like, some weird fever dream? You know?
Yeah, so, I mean, that probably would have been a lot better if J.K. Rowling had had more to do with that. But, I mean, you know, you win some, you lose some.
Once again, you know, 20 years, one huge universe, are gonna be some mistakes.
Don't give Voldemort time-traveling daughters. It could have been avoided.
It wasn't necessary.
Don't need that.
It read like a fanfic.
It was like
It basically was a fanfic.
It was a particularly good fanfic. A particularly well-written fanfic. But that's not what this podcast is about.
We could do a podcast on the Cursed Child.
Oh god, I haven't read it in so long.
Yeah.
But Lita was a way bigger character than I imagined. We already discussed.
I thought she was gonna be like less.
I didn't even know
she was like less of a character than I expected her to be.
I didn't even know she was gonna be in this movie.
I figured she was eventually.
I figured they might like give us more backstory on her, but I did not expect her to have like an actual like part in the movie.
I was expecting her to be in one of these movies sooner or later. I guess I didn't really think about whether it would be like this one or not. I was expecting her to show up at some point, so I wasn't like surprised.
She was much more important than I thought she was gonna be. I just thought she was just gonna be like some like thing that, you know, they used to help develop new later. I mean, I knew she was gonna be like important because they like kind of established her in the first movie, but I just figured that she wasn't. I didn't think she was gonna be like in this movie and be like a big like thing, you know.
She was like, I don't know how much I think of her, because she like kind of just we got like a lot of backstory from her that she like shoved at us, and then she fucking died. So it's like,
I didn't really get to experience her that much.
We didn't really get to like know her.
I don't really have like an opinion to like, because it's like on one hand, she like murdered her brother just because she was just like, I don't want him to cry anymore, so I'm just gonna
Okay, that just makes it sound like she like stabbed
No,
him
okay, yeah,
because
no.
he was
It
crying.
was like, but it's like she's obviously a little stupid, or she was a little stupid, because who just swaps your brother out with some other random baby?
It's like that could only go well. Like even like you'd have to like sneak back in and swap it and hope like the mom doesn't notice she has someone else's baby.
And then it's like, but then
Like,
it was
I'm pretty
also
sure
like
the
you
only
see her
reason-
in school, and she was just like a nice person, which is one thing that I wanted to say, and I felt like that there was some good representations of houses. I mean, obviously Lita was a little bit fucked, but like also she was pretty nice.
I mean,
she was
the
nice.
way they showed her was that she coached some random kid in the hallway and then ran away.
Well, she
could because it looked like
she
was, like,
cursed
enjoying
the woman.
this.
She cursed the girl because she was like talking shit.
Yeah,
You
but
know-
you don't just coast someone's mouth away.
I mean, but they were also in magic school, and McGonagall literally fixed it in like 1 second.
That's
so
fair.
it was
So
more
it-
like
it looked
throwing like a
much-
paper wad at
It
someone.
looked much more like disturbing and dramatic than it actually was because McGonagall like undid it and then the girl started talking and she immediately like redid it.
Yeah, so I mean, it was basically like throwing like a pencil at some bitch who you hear talking shit. So, but and then it was like the Gryffindors came across as more shitty than the Slytherins.
Because it's like not the house, it's just the people. Like you can be brave and be a shithead, and you can be ambitious and be not normal, I guess. But like
And then there was a
Not the
Hufflepuff and a Slytherin who were like best friends. That is like, I love that.
yes.
Yeah, even though again Lita was pretty busted. She was pretty much she had some issues.
And then Newt was just a fucking sweetheart as usual,
Sweet
just taking
cinnamon
care of
little
like
son.
ravens in like the
Baby
secret
ravens.
attic.
Yeah, his
Weird.
secret attic that he had that was just full of like creatures.
That I
he
guess
had.
he just
This is
found
why you
an
got
empty
expelled.
Because he just found some empty, tiny room that no one used and was like, cool, I'm gonna fill it with weird things that I catch.
I'm just gonna fill it with weird shit.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nagini was a thing.
She was.
She wasn't as much of a disaster as I was expecting it to be, so that's good, that's solid.
Yeah, it was like the problematic stuff that people were talking about wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It was when they were like, hey, J.K. Rowling just released that Nagini is not in fact a snake, but an Asian woman who turned into a snake because she's cursed. I was like, yo, man, what the fuck? But like, also I wasn't 100% sure that if that was gonna be in the movie or not. Like, part of me thought that it was just like that thing that she does sometimes where somebody's just like, hey, you don't have a lot of representation in this one area. How do you feel about that? And then she was just like, Nagini's a Korean lady. Because she does that. Which isn't great. No, it's not.
But like,
I think what she needs
she's
to
not
do...
like totally problematic. The reason I like don't hate her at this point, a lot of people do, I can understand that, is because like, if you look at her like actual political, she's not racist, she's not homophobic, she just sucks at representation, which isn't great, but it's not like the worst thing a human
I
could
don't
be.
think she has bad intentions, she's just bad at things.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issues that we have is that she doesn't just say, I know that the representation in these books is
Isn't
bad.
great.
I know that I did a bad job, and I recognize that I should have done better, and when I
But it
create
was, like,
more stuff in the
over
future...
10 years ago,
yeah,
and
but
I
it's
can't
like-
really do anything
it's
about
like,
it.
Yeah, it's like she could have just been like, I know that I did a bad job at representation, but I can't do anything about it now, but when I create stuff in the future, I will work to have more representation. And I feel like that if she did that, everyone would be like, acceptable, have a good day. But instead, she just does these things, and then you're just like, what? Like when somebody's just like, hey, are there any Jewish people at Hogwarts? And she's like, yes, there is a Jewish person at Hogwarts. Or like somebody was like, what do Jewish people do over the holiday season? Because Hogwarts does seem very, like, Christmas-centered, and then she was pretty much just, like, the one Jewish person at this school does this, and it's like, there's one Jewish kid.
You could just say that they just take their winter break and fucking deal with it. That's what every Jewish person in every real school does.
Yeah, or it's like, you know, maybe just don't say anything about Nagini being an Asian woman until the movie comes out. Because I feel like that if that had happened, if she hadn't just been like, hey, guess what?
Hashtag representation.
Hashtag representation. No one would care. No one. Because, like, it would go down a lot better.
In the movie, it was like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, if I hadn't heard anything about this before, in the movie I might have been like, wait, what the fuck? But then I would have been like, okay. Like, I probably wouldn't have, like, thought that much about it if like, this hadn't been, like, a thing before the movie. Because it's like, I'm not an expert on what constitutes as good representation. But Nagini was, like, a minor character. She didn't really do much.
She's actually pretty cool, you know? She seemed pretty nice.
Yeah, I kind of like
I do want
her.
more information, like, when you turn into a snake permanently, do you still have the mind of a person, or are you like just a snake? Because it's like, because if you have the mind of a person, she became Voldemort's pet, ate some people, and then got her head chopped off by Neville. So it's like, because she was a Horcrux. So it's like, does she just become like a snake with like regular snake level intelligence, and that's like part of the
She
curse?
seemed to kind of like be able to control herself when she was a snake, but like,
that's
kind
also
of
during
not.
but then also that was like in the point where like the guy, like the ringleader guy, was saying that she still has control over it, but eventually she won't.
Yeah, so I guess, well, that would imply, like, the whole control thing would imply that in the future she won't have control over it. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's probably that once it becomes permanent, her, like, conscious kind of, like, her, like, sentient, her, like, human brain intelligence conscious sentience just kind of, like, fades.
Yeah.
And she just becomes, like, a snake. That would at least be, like, probably the best way that could
Yeah,
work.
and I mean, it's probably not great still, and I mean, of course, I'm not Asian, so I don't get the final say on whether or not it's offensive, but it's not as bad as I
She's
thought
like
it
an
was
actual
gonna be.
character.
She's like an actual character. It's not like she had some sort of a purpose. She was actually, like, really nice and stuff. So it's like, it's not just like J.K. Rowling. Yeah, it's not just like J.K. Rowling was like, hey, I heard that y'all have been saying that I didn't have enough Asian people in my books. So guess what? Nagini's an Asian woman who's just got cursed and turned into a
sounds
snake.
like she, like, thought about this. At least a little.
Yes. And then the thing with Dumbledore, you know, because, like, there's this big thing when, like, she was like, again, she just needs to get better at, like, handling things.
Because it's like, one thing you can do.
Because it's like, one, when people like, hey, you don't have a lot of representation in this, instead of being like, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry about that, she just kind of like tries to like retcon things, and it doesn't go over that well. And then when people criticize certain things that she does, like criticizes those decisions or criticizes lack of things, a lot of times she just kind of like, she doesn't take it well. She kind of, like, roasts them or, like, makes a big show of, like, blocking them on Twitter. And it's just, like, they're not...
She doesn't seem like she handles criticism.
Yeah, it's, like, they're not
For someone whose book got rejected 12 times before it was published, she doesn't seem like she takes criticism.
It's, like, when, you know, when she, like, when it came out that, like, Dumbledore wasn't gonna be, like, expressly gay in this movie, which makes, again, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, because it makes more sense in this movie than I thought it was going to, because he is not in it as much as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, like,
It's not as centered around him and Grindelwald as I thought it was going to be, and when you know he's gay and was in love with Grindelwald, when you, like, watch it, you kind of, like, yep, I see that.
Yeah, it's kind of like with Dumbledore, I was kind of like, it's a little, like, when people, like, a lot of people gave her, like, shit for that, because it's kind of like, it wasn't ever mentioned in the books, but then afterwards, he was like, haha, gay character. And I was like, well, to be fair, Dumbledore was, like, 120 and 20-year-old school teacher's sexuality. It would be weird if it did come up in the books. That would be, like, weird and awkward and probably come across as slightly inappropriate. So
it was, like, the only way that they could really bring it up is if he was, like, married to, like, a dude. And they just, like, mentioned that at some point.
That would
but
be
he's not, because he is a severely broken man.
Yeah, so, like, that was, like, that was basically the only way was to, like, change, like, a big part of, like, his life as a character. Yeah. So it's like, that's like a little harsh. Like, it's probably like the only way she could do it that would like it wouldn't make sense if it was in the book. Like that's probably like the best way she could do it. And then like Fantastic Beasts comes out and it's like she has an opportunity to like, probably erase most of those criticisms by just like putting it in the movie, and then she, like, a lot of people were like, but then she, like, didn't, but it's like, I'm still holding out hope, because it's the second movie out of 5, just because he's not gonna be, like, expressly gay in this one, doesn't mean that that's not gonna happen in, like, the other ones, because, like you said, he wasn't in it as much as I was, and probably, like, a lot of people was expecting him to be, and he is a very, like, another thing about it is that he's a very, like, private, secretive, like, character.
And also, it's, like, reason. The 1920s, so, like, being
We don't know how progressive the Wizarding Society is.
Well, there's, like, currently, like, Wizard Hitler taking over, so, I mean, like, probably not that progressive.
Well, yeah, but that's, like, in the main thing they established is, like, inequality in, like, the Wizarding world is, like, purely, like, Wizarding problem. Like, they haven't, like, when they had, like, racism in the Wizarding world, it wasn't, like, the racism we have in our world. It was, like, against, like, Muggle-borns and Muggles and stuff. It, like, wasn't, like, they don't seem to have the same, like, inequality issues.
That is fair.
They seem to have, like, the same level of inequality issues, but just not, like, the same one. So, like, I don't know how, like, the Wizarding world feels about gay people. But
that's true. But, like, basically, it's like,
it's kind of in character for one, it to not be mentioned in the original books, and for it to, like, not be mentioned basically immediately, especially since the main thing here is that he was gay for the mass murderer currently trying to conquer the world, which, probably not something you really are in a hurry to admit to people.
I'm hoping that they are gonna make it more obvious, because I do feel like if you didn't know that he was gay, then maybe you wouldn't have picked up on it, but I feel like that since I knew he was gay, looking at some of the stuff, like one of it was, like, the blood oath, but then, like, when he was just like, I can't move against Grindelwald, and they were like, what, is it this? And then it was, like, just a picture of them kind of, like, staring longingly at each other. I was like, yeah, alright.
And when he was, like, looking at what I'm pretty sure was the mirror of Erised, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Like, his face was kind of like, it seems like you can kind of, the reason I have more hope, especially than I did, like, before watching this movie, because I still had hope before. I was like, well, she still has, like, 3 more movies where she could work it in. Was that it definitely seems like she is, like, maybe, like, you probably wouldn't pick up on it if you didn't already know, but it seems like she's definitely writing him with that fact, like, in mind.
Yes.
That he was, like, in love with Grindelwald, so it's, like, I'm hoping that eventually that will be, like, a thing.
Basically, the problematic parts of this movie are not as bad as I originally thought they were going to be, but again, she needs to be better than this. She can't keep being like, yes. It's like, if you're going to, like, it's just, well, she just handles it badly, because either, like, she just throws in something, like, there's one Jewish dude at school, I think there was a thing where she was, like, gonna make, like, Dean and she, like, Seamus, like, a thing, and then she, like, didn't, because she was like, it would distract from the story and stuff like that. So then it was just like, one, just stop doing that. And then 2, if there is going to be something like Nagini is an Asian woman or Dumbledore is gay, and it's actually is something that you thought through and that you want to have be part of the story, maybe just, like, don't just, like, say it and then not elaborate on it, and then, like, if people are like, is this going to be a thing, don't just be like, no, and then when they're like, why not, then just be like, no, blocked. Because it's like when Dumbledore, it was like, she was like, hey, Dumbledore's gay, and everyone was like, okay, in this new movie, are you going to make him expressly gay? And then she was just
now
like...
that he's, like, young, and
now
it's
that he's,
about
like, young, and it's about the guy
so
he's
would,
in
like,
love
fit
with.
in much better.
And she was just like, no! And then when people on Twitter were just like, why aren't you making it expressly gay? That's kind of, like, why aren't you, like, why... this is not good for you to just say, hey, he's gay for, like, representation points, and then not actually do any work to actually make it a representation. So, like, why aren't you doing that? And then she was pretty much just like, because you're stupid, blocked! And it's like, don't do that! Joanne, please!
Please, I want to, like you, but, currently I, can't. I don't, dislike... also, once again, because it doesn't seem like she has, any, bad intentions.
She's just bad at things.
Because it's if you know her political views, they're quite, liberal and progressive, so it's it's not... an issue with her being homophobic or racist, but still wanting, the representation points. It's she's just fucking stupid.
She's just bad. I mean, that's all there is to it. And it's she just needs to get better. She can't basically drop something that can be perceived. It's either she can't just retcon things and then be like, hey, I have representation, when you didn't actually put representation in. You just said there was representation.
Is it a problem with Nagini, technically? Because I was expecting her to turn, into a snake, quite early into the movie. That's the impression I got. I didn't think it was, a curse, she's been cursed that she slowly becomes a snake more and more, often and uncontrollably. I thought it was, someone put a curse, just turned her into a snake. But, it wasn't as, we've said, 1,000 times, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It's, actual, she is, she's not, really great representation, because she was, a pretty minor character, but, she is, she's there. I doubt anyone would have, said anything about it if it hadn't been, mentioned beforehand.
And that's the thing. It's you either just can't retcon things and then call it representation, because it's just not. And then, two, if you all do have these things where you do have these more diverse characters, and there is you are going to have them in the thing, and it does make sense, and you did think about it, you can't just drop it on people, and then, in a way where with no context, it seems like you're just retconning things, which we know you do sometimes, and then when people are like, hey, this is pretty shit, you can't get mad at them, and then, block them and call them stupid on Twitter. It's either don't say anything about it, and then just let it be in the work, and then, because then people probably wouldn't be nearly as mad about it, or just explain yourself better. Don't just drop these things that sound really
just say,
bad.
Just watch or at least be you'll get more, in the movie, don't want to, spoil it, you know? Yeah, just say, just at least tell people it's gonna be, explained better in the movie. You just don't want to, spoil it too much.
Yeah, you can't just drop these things that sound really bad and then get mad when people are like, that sounds really bad. If you don't want to spoil it, and then if you don't want to spoil it, but you know that it's not as bad as people are making it out to be, just tell them that it's not as bad as they're making it out to be, and be watch the movie, and everything will be fine.
I was if you tweet that out, then people are like, hey Joanne, what the fuck? Just to be just to follow it up with hey, I know that kind of sounds really dumb when I say it out of context, but trust me, it's not that bad.
It's not.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's you just gotta handle it better, my guy. We were all rooting for you. We all want to love you. Stop making it so difficult for us. Please.
I also the one thing is that I like the themes of moral grayness. Getting off of that whole tangent about representation, they've always been a thing in Harry Potter, kind of the gray areas of morality and stuff. And I kind of like the way she does it, because most of the times when a thing wants to tackle moral gray areas, like, everyone's, like, morally gray. No one's, like, a good guy and a bad guy. Everyone's just, like, drifting in the middle somewhere. But she kind of has, like, here's a definitive good guy, here's a definitive bad guy, and then here's a bunch of people in the middle. Which I kind of like, because it's kind of like how morality is in, like, real life, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of things that are kind of more, like, gray areas. But then to most people, there is, like, a line. And once you cross it, you're just kind of the worst.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, there are a lot of things, like, that are gray areas. Like, in the movie, they talk about, like, killing people, like, for the greater good, which I know is, like, Grindelwald's, like, saying. But, like, you know, like, a lot of the people at, like, the ministries wanted to kill Credence, because they were like, that'll stop Grindelwald's plans.
Yeah, and, like, the Orders kill Grindelwald's supporters a lot.
Yeah, so it's kind of like... But then it's also, like, there's a point about, like, killing people where it's, like, you know, like, that's kind of a gray area, but then there's a point when killing people where you're, like, yeah, no, like, Grindelwald, like, crosses the line into, like, yeah, no, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And then, like, also there's, like, some people who are, like, undeniably, like, good. Like, you know, someone like Newt who refuses to kill anyone ever. Like, he, like, doesn't want to kill Credence because, like, he's like, you can't do that, that's fucked up, because he hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like those people are, like, undeniably, like, good people.
It's like he doesn't want to kill people, he's very empathetic towards other people, he always does what he thinks is right. And he just, like, wants other ways of, like, stopping people. Like, he wants to stop Credence from, you know, being, like, an obscurist and stuff. But, like, other people are like, let's just kill him. And he's like, no, let's show him, like, love.
And, like, those people, like, someone like him is, like, undeniably, like, a good person. To most people, anyway. So it kind of, like, you know, addresses that it's, like, not everything ever is a gray area. There are some things where, like, yeah, that's definitely good, and that's definitely bad.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things where it's, like, also gray. So I always liked that in Harry Potter.
Yeah. I think it's, like...
It's very present in this movie.
It is very present. And I do, like... I feel like that really establishes Newt's character more, and then I feel like I feel like a lot of this movie was just, like, establishing characters more, and I liked it. Like, we got to meet, like, Lita and Newt's family, and learn more about his past, and, like, Grindelwald got more attention. We still didn't learn that much about why, like, him and his brother don't get along. Yeah, there's more to be learned, obviously, but it was a very character-driven story, and I appreciate it.
I always appreciate that.
Yes. And Newt is just my boy. I love my boy.
Yes.
Always Stan. Anyway, that's all I have to say. It was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. Can't wait for the next one.
Hopefully...
Oh, God.
Hopefully J.K. Rowling sorts herself out in this representation thing.
Yeah, this has been going on for a lot longer than I thought it was, which is why I just said, oh God, very loudly. But, yeah, we hope you enjoyed our rant about Harry Potter. Newt's my boy. Goodbye.
Bye.